pesky pests. They can ruin your garden, but how can you protect your plants without using harsh chemicals? Here to show us how is Master Gardener, the Green Thumb Guru, Ed Sordiff. Ed, nice to have you on Mass Appeal.
Nice to be here.
As always, you always bring such beautiful plants that are healthy, and so obviously you are doing something right.
Yeah, it's something that anybody can do. You just pay attention to the plant, and then you know what it needs, and then it'll be healthy and it'll thrive for you.
Without using pesticides.
Without using pesticides.
So speaking of healthy plants can defend themselves without the use of a chemical.
Yes. The reason that you get pests and diseases is because the plant is stressed. Things aren't going its way. It's not in the right environment or something. So the real thing to do is actually give the plant what it needs and what it wants. So when you go to the store, you might say, oh, well, this is a beautiful hosta, but I want it right on my deck, right in blazing sun, and because I love those flowers and the color. But if you pull out that tag there, and if you look right there,
part shade,
so that plant would not do good in the sun. It would start stressing out, and then you would have problems with different things that would come, like slugs and different things like that. So that would be good for the shadier side of your house or under some trees or something.
So these tags matter.
Yes, all the tags matter. You should really read them before you go and try to put something where it doesn't want to be.
So put it where it wants to be. That's important, right? That's what we all want. We all we'll be happy and we'll thrive if we're where we want to be.
Yes.
Give your plants the amount of water that it needs.
Yes. Some people just dump water in all the time. They don't really know. Some plants want to be moist all the time, like a lot of ferns do, but some plants do not want to be moist all the time. Something like an orchid, who has actually evolved up in the trees, wants to dry out actually, and people don't realize that. They want to have some oxygen around their roots from time to time. So that's something that you'd want to do. You know the orchid wants to dry out, so you give it the kind of water it needs, and then it's happier, and then it won't be stressed out either.
So gardening isn't just about seeing a flower you like, taking it and planting it anywhere. You have to do your research and know what it wants for it to be healthy.
Yeah, you really should, because I mean, this is a great lantana. This would be full sun for that deck we were talking about. So this would be a great substitute for that hosta. A little bit different, but great in its own way.
That's still very pretty, nice and colorful.
Oh yeah.
Use low toxic sprays. What do you mean by this? What's an example?
Low toxic sprays are like neem oil, pyrethrin, even you can use soaps like Dawn or something, and a little bit of water too. And you would spray those on the plants. But what would really help plants, now when you bring them home and you're going to put them in the garden, it's really the soil. The soil is what really matters in all sorts of plants. Any kind of plant you have, if you can add organic matter, like we have a compost here. This is composted common manure, but it looks just like soil by now because it's been really totally composted, so it's really clean.
Yeah.
You want to really add organics. It could be leaf mold, regular compost that you get from your vegetables and stuff, or some kind of manure like that. And you really work that in the soil, and then the plants will just really thrive in that soil. They'll be so robust that they can actually fight off pests and diseases. They won't be putting out any signals for any kind of pests to come to them. They'll be able to really fight them off.
So give it that healthy soil that it needs, the organic matter, to really thrive.
Yeah, if you're investing in the plant, you might as well invest in something like this composted common manure. And we're really lucky here in the valley because we have so many dairy farmers around, and a lot of them are actually making this now. So you can actually go to the source, get it really cheap. It doesn't have a scent on it or anything, and it really, if you put a plant here and another plant here and gave this one the compost, you would be amazed. It would double and triple in size and be really healthy. Soil
is very important. The last tip we're going to give for now is that give your indoor plants a vacation.
Yes, people keep their indoor plants all the time in the house. The house, if you stayed in there all the time, you wouldn't be very healthy looking, you wouldn't be happy. And these plants mostly, like the indoor plants, are really tropical plants. So they would actually love it if you brought them out for the summer. And even though we're right in the middle of summer now, it's a perfect time to bring them out. You would bring them out, you wouldn't put them, even if it's a plant that likes full sun, you would not put it in the full sun right away. You would put it under a deep shade tree or a canopy area where it gets full shade. In a couple weeks, you can move it out a little bit more to the full sun if it's a full sun plant, and then you can keep moving it to its final placement in the full sun. The reason you do that is if you move your house plants who have been in the house all the winter into full sun, they actually will burn. So it's like when you go to the beach, you have been in the house all winter, then you burn. So
it's amazing how much plants are just like us.
It is. They really are. They like the same kind of humidity, the same kind of temperature.
But no sunscreen on your plants. Just baby steps to the sun.
Yes. I wouldn't put copper tone on there. That would be bad.
Great information, Ed. This is how we can prevent avoid using pesticides.
Yes.
But coming up in the show, we're going to tell you how you can treat your plants in a safe way if they already have pests on them.
Yes.
Wonderful. Looking forward to that. We're back with Master Gardener Ed Sordiff, Green Thumb Guru. Now we're talking about how to get rid of the pests if you already have them in your garden.
If the pests have arrived and you want to get rid of them, you want to start enlisting nature to actually get rid of them. And that's why you really wanted to go organic. You want to have birds come in to actually eat the caterpillars and eat the any kind of insects that are out there. You want the amphibians, frogs, salamanders to come in because they do a great job at night to clean up your yard. You even want snakes because they get rid of mice and different insects too. So you want to actually make a really nice habitat that everybody wants to come into. No poisons, no pesticides, because then you get rid of the beneficial insects.
Right. So you want to make it a nice, friendly environment to welcome the creatures that are
there to help you.
There to help you.
Yeah.
So water, standing water is a good thing to have.
Yeah, if you incorporate water into your garden, if you put something like this filled with water somewhere in your garden, this will attract birds. They'll come from miles around to come here. This will attract amphibians. Frogs and salamanders can actually smell water from 5 miles away, and they would come and they would jump in, and then they'd have a place to live, go out and start feasting on your stuff, and so that'd be a really good thing. And you know, you can make it look nice. You have some marginal plants here like a papyrus, that one. Then you also have floating plants. This is a water hyacinth here, and then you have a water lettuce. So you can actually make it look really nice. Now that's just water that doesn't flow. If you're worried about mosquitoes, this is a bacteria you put in there. Bacillus thuringiensis. You might have seen them as mosquito dunks also. That gets rid of the mosquito larvae.
Oh, okay. So that can go in the standing water.
Yeah.
Also running water or flowing water.
Yeah, running water, all you got to do is you can have this kind of pond thing or something like that little thing over there. And you just get one of these little pumps, and you just put it in there, plug it in, and then it'll recirculate and it'll actually make the water move. So when the water moves, there'll be no mosquitoes. But also the sound of water. Birds really listen to that, are really attracted to that, so you'll get a lot more birds with running water in your yard. And that also masks noise like the highway and stuff if you're too close to that.
Oh, very cool. So that'll encourage them to come. All right, and then there's also the option to just pick the pests off, right?
Yes. Now you have them there. You want to get physical with these guys. You want to get them out. I used to be the head of historic gardens at Hancock Shaker Village, and one of the things the Shakers did, they had 300 of them though, but they would go out in the gardens and they would actually pick all the bugs off. Now you can do that too. You were talking about Japanese beetles. You have problems with those. They go on the roses this time of year and stuff. So the good thing to do with that is you take a little glass of water, you put a little bit of soap, dish soap in there, and then you would go out either in the morning when it's a little bit earlier when they're not warmed up, the Japanese beetles on the roses, or in the evening at dusk. And they'll just sit there. So if you try to pick them off during the daytime, they're going to fly away. But at these hours, they kind of just sit there, and so you can just knock them into this cup here. The water actually breaks the surface tension, and they will actually drown in there. So it's a good organic way of getting rid of them. And if you don't like to touch them, just get some really flexible gloves.
That's me. I don't want to touch them.
All right. What
Powdery mildew. How do you get rid of that?
Powdery mildew, if we have a really wet summer, that's going to be coming. I was just reading there's you can actually mix a 1 part milk with 2 parts water, and spray that on the leaves, top and bottom. That could help. But also there's you can actually make another thing which is tried and true. You take 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and you take a half a teaspoon of liquid soap. Make sure it's dish soap, and then 1 gallon of water, and spray that on, and that'll get rid of that.
There you go. All of this will be on our website. Ed, Green Thumb Guru, love having you. If you missed Mass, if you like